Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Professor Santosh Nandal. Today we will discuss a new topic BRICS in this video. You can see the dignitaries of 5 nations in this photo. We will take overview of BRICS. BRICS is an acronym for the grouping of the world's leading emerging economies, namely Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The BRICS Leader Summit is convened annually. साल में convene होती है meeting. What is the structure of BRICS? BRICS does not exist in the form of organization, but it is an annual summit between the supreme leader of 5 nations. The chairmanship of the forum is rotated annually among the members in accordance with the acronyms BRICS. BRICS cooperation in the past decade has expanded to include an annual program of over 100 sectoral meetings, which are salient features of BRICS. Together, BRICS account for about 40% of world's population and about 30% of the GDP, gross domestic product, making it is a critical economic engine. It is an emerging investment market and global power bloc. Genesis, background of BRICS, we will put highlight on it. The acronyms BRICS was initially formulated in 2001 by economist Jim O'Neill of Goldman Sachs in a report on growth prospects for the economies of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. So previously there were the 4 countries in it, with together represented a significant share of the world's production and population. In 2006, the 4 countries initiated a regular informal diplomatic coordination with annual meeting of foreign ministers at the margins of the general debate on the UN General Assembly. This successful interaction led to the decision that the dialogue was to be carried out at the level of heads of the state and government in annual summits. You saw photo on the first slide. Timeline. The first BRICS summit took place in 2009 in the Russian Federation and focused on issues such as reform of the global financial architecture. South Africa was invited to join BRIC in December 2010, after which the group adopted the acronym BRICS. So before 2010 there were only 4 countries, and 2010 South Africa was also added and its name became as BRICS, BRICS. South Africa subsequently attended the 3rd BRICS summit in Sanya, China in March 2011. What are the objectives of BRICS? The BRICS seeks to deepen, broaden and intensify cooperation within the grouping and among the individual countries for more sustainable, equitable and mutually beneficial development. BRICS takes into consideration each member's growth, development and poverty objectives to ensure relations are built on the respective countries' economic strength and to avoid competition where possible. BRICS is emerging as a new and promising political diplomatic entity with diverse objectives far beyond the original objectives of reforming global financial institutions. areas of cooperation. First one is economic cooperation. There are rapidly growing trade and investment flows between BRICS countries as well as economic cooperation activities across a range of sectors. Agreements have been concluded in the area of economic and trade cooperation, innovation cooperation, customs cooperation, strategic cooperation between the BRICS Business Council, Contingent Reserve Agreement, and New Development Bank. These agreements contribute to realization of the shared objectives of deepening economic cooperation and fostering integrated trade and investment markets. Second one, people to people exchange. BRICS members have recognized the need for strengthening people to people exchanges and to foster closer cooperation in the areas of culture, sport, education, film, and youth. People to people exchange seeks to force new friendships, deepen relations, and mutual understandings between BRICS people in the spirit of openness, inclusiveness, diversity, and mutual learning. Such people to people exchanges include the Young Diplomats Forum, Parliamentarian Forum, Trade Union Forum, Civil BRICS, as well as the Media Forum. Third one is political and security cooperation. BRICS member political and security cooperation is aimed at achieving peace, security, development, and cooperation for a more equitable and fair world. BRICS provides opportunities for sharing policy, advice, and exchanges of best practices in terms of domestic and regional challenges, as well as advancing the structuring of the global political architecture so that it is more balanced, resting on the pillar of multilateralism. BRICS is utilized as a driver of South Africa's foreign policy priorities, including the pursuit of the African agenda and South-South cooperation. Next one, cooperation mechanism. Cooperation among members is achieved through number one, track one, formal diplomatic engagement between the national governments. Track two, engagement through government affiliated institutions, for example, state-owned enterprises and business councils. Track 3, civil society and people to people engagement. Now we will discuss impacts of BRICS on global institutional reforms. The main reason for cooperation to start among the BRICS nation was the financial crisis of 2008. In 2008, there was a global financial crisis. The crisis raised doubts over sustainability of the dollar-dominated monetary system. The BRICS called for the reform of the multilateral institutions in order that they reflect the structural changes in the world economy and the increasing central role that emerging markets now play. BRICS managed to push for institutional reform, which led to International Monetary Fund, quota, reform in 2010. Thus, the financial crisis and monetarily reduced Western legitimacy and briefly let the BRICS countries become agenda setters in multilateral institutions. New Development Bank. New Development Bank is headquarters in Shanghai. At the fourth BRICS summit in New Delhi 2012, the possibility of setting up a new development bank was considered to mobilize resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in BRICS and other emerging economies as well as in developing countries. During the sixth BRIC summit in Fortaleza 2014, the leaders signed the agreement establishing the new development bank. Fortaleza declaration stressed that the new development bank will strengthen cooperation among BRICS and will supplement the efforts of multilateral and regional financial institutions for global development, thus contributing to sustainable and balanced growth. National development banks' key areas of operation are clean energy, transport, infrastructure, irrigation, sustainable urban development, and economic cooperation among the member countries. The National Development Bank function on a consultative mechanism among the BRICS members, with all the member countries possessing equal rights. Now, what are the challenges of BRICS? The market dominance of Big Three, Russia, China, and India, is a challenge for the BRICS as it moves ahead to become a true representative of large emerging markets across the board. BRICS must become pan-continental. Its membership must include more countries from other regions and continents. The BRICS will need to expand its agenda for increasing its relevance in the global order. As of now, climate change and development finance aimed at building infrastructure dominate agenda. As BRICS moves forward, fundamental principles of BRICS, that is, respect for sovereign, equality, and pluralism in the global governance, are liable to be tested as the five member countries pursue their own national agendas. The military standoff between India and China on the Doklam Plateau, which has effectively brought to an end the naive notion that a comfortable political relationship is always possible amongst the BRICS members. China's efforts to co-opt nation states which are integral to its Belt and Road Initiative into a broader political arrangement has potential to cause conflict among BRICS members, especially China and India. These are the biggest challenges for BRICS. Importance for India. India can benefit from collective strength of BRICS by way of consultation and cooperation on economic issues of mutual interest as well as topical global issues such as international terrorism, climate change, food and energy security, reforms of global governance, institutions, etc. India remains engaged with the other BRICS countries on its NSG membership. The NDB will help India to raise and avail resources for their infrastructure and sustainable development projects. The NDB has approved its first set for loans, which included a loan of US dollar 250 million in respect of India for multi-tranche financing facility for renewable energy financing scheme. What can be the way forward for BRICS? BRICS did well in its first decade to identify issues of common interest and to create platforms to address these issues. For BRICS to remain relevant over the next decade, each of its members must make a realistic assessment of the initiative's opportunities and inherent limitations. BRICS nations need to be recalibrate their approach and to recommit to their founding ethos. BRICS must reaffirm their commitment to a multipolar world that allows for sovereign equality and democratic decision making. By doing so, can they address the asymmetry of power within the group and in global governance generally. They must build on the success of NDB and invest in additional BRICS institutions. It will be useful for BRICS to develop an institutional research wing along the lines of the OECD, offering solutions which are better suited to the developing world. BRICS should consider a BRICS led effort to meet their commitments under the Paris Agreement on climate change and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This could include, for example, setting up a BRICS Energy Alliance and a Energy Policy Institution. NDB, in partnership with other development finance institutions, could be a potent vehicle to finance progress towards the sustainable development goals among the BRICS members. Idea of setting up a BRICS credit rating agency BCRA as proposed by India, opposed to Western agencies like Standard and Poor's, Moody's, etc., can be on BRICS future agenda. So thank you very much. Please like, share and subscribe my channel, Professor Santosh Nandal. If you do have any query and question, put in comment box. Thank you very much.